Hello everyone, I'd like to welcome you officially to Bank on History. If this is the first time you've ever heard of the name Bankie Bruce, here's my story, short and sweet. I love obscure pop culture and nostalgia. It's my thing. Although I try my best to keep up to date with everything current in entertainment, I love to learn about the history of a genre. Most particularly, I love learning about the history of professional wrestling. For me, professional wrestling is the greatest art form in the medium of entertainment. Performers use their bodies like paintbrushes and design the canvas inside of the squared circle with their athleticism and wrestling movesets. Mix in having to develop their own personas and travel from city to city, learning how to perform in front of brand new audiences every night, and enthrall them from bell to bell, you can see how impressive the art form of wrestling can be. My father, who introduced me to pro wrestling as a child, had a wealth of knowledge inside that brain of his. We always had frequent conversations on his experiences with pro wrestling, traveling to different venues, watching WWF live events. His passion for wrestling inspired me to become similar to him. Over the past 30 years of my life, I've traveled all over the country, checking out wrestling shows in different markets with different styles. The more I learned, the more I was hungry for knowledge. I was hooked. My father passed away in 2013. I was heartbroken. I miss him every day. Because of his passing, over the next several years, I became jaded with the industry. I felt a hole in my heart, and wrestling just didn't feel the same. I still watched, but mainly because it was a force of habit. I slowly started to fade away from something I loved, and I thought I would never find that passion again. Then on January 7th, 2023, I fell in love with wrestling once again. My friend, on a whim, asked if I wanted to go check out a pro wrestling show in Hamburg, Pennsylvania, for a promotion called American X Wrestling. I learned that Kevin Kelly was helping run things, as well as one of my favorite tag teams, Tough Guy Inc., were on the card. I decided to go, and it was the best decision I've ever made. Pulling up to the Hamburg Field House where the event was taking place, it brought a tear to my eye. I remember my father had told me he had come here once or twice for a WWF live event in the 1970s, and in a weird way, I felt his spirit there. I bought my ticket, walked in, and felt the legacy of the venue. All the history hit me at once. I was in awe. The entire show was great, the talent was excellent, and the fans packed the venue, happy to see a solid professional wrestling show. I felt inspired. I became hooked on wrestling once again. I went to the next 3 AXW events. On those long drives from Jersey to Hamburg, I started to formulate the vision in my head. I thought about the classic venues my father had gone to and the events I traveled to. I thought about how there isn't a podcast going deep into the history of historical or long-forgotten buildings that had some phenomenal wrestling events inside. Certain venues just have an aura and legacy behind it that needs to be discussed and showcased to the world. And I want to be the one to discuss it. Thus, Bank on History will be an 8-part podcast series on historic wrestling buildings that have made an impact, one way or the other, on my life. In turn, I will have guests on each episode that will help establish the importance of each individual venue. And why not start with the arena that helped inspire this podcast? Ladies and gentlemen, I bring to you the history of the Hamburg Field House in Hamburg, Pennsylvania. The historic Hamburg Field House was built in the early 1950s. Located on Pine Street, the venue is next to a graveyard. Legend has it that the many of the rested souls at that burial site hold the tales of professional wrestlers making their presence felt inside and outside the field house. According to HamburgPA.org, the venue, with just the bleachers, holds 1,500 fans. Over the 70-year history of the field house, that capacity tested the fire code many times over, maximizing out at 2,400 fans at a single bound. The first professional wrestling show at the Fieldhouse took place on October 10th, 1960, under the Capital Wrestling Corporation brand, which was run by Vincent J. McMahon and Toots Mundt. The main event had the living legend Bruno Sammartino pin Pat Kelly to gain the victory. 3 years later, the CWC founded the Worldwide Wrestling Federation, which had just split from the National Wrestling Alliance in January of that year. The first WWF show, was held on October 23rd, 1963, where 1,800 wrestling fans had packed the Hamburg Field House to see the following matches. The Black Shadow defeated the revered Arnold Skaaland. Future WWF champion Pedro Morales and Argentina Apollo went to a draw with the WWF United States Tag Team Champions Brute Bernard and Skull Murphy in a 2 out of 3 falls match. And WWF United States Champion Bobo Brazil defeated Hans Mortier in the main event. Over the next 2 decades, the WWF, later shortened to the World Wrestling Federation, ran events inside the Field House, with classic memories abound. Every wrestler from that era that you could think of wrestled in the Hamburg Field House, from Sergeant Slaughter, Pat Patterson, and Chief Jay Strongbow, to Baron Von Raschke, Superstar Billy Graham, and Killer Kowalski, among countless others. That is the legacy the venue holds. In 1980, following their epic match inside of Shea Stadium, an event my father was personally at, but we'll get there in time, Andre the Giant and the incredible Hulk Hogan ran a series of matches, including one inside the Hamburg Field House. During a packed live event on August 20th, 1980, Andre and the Hulkster went to a no contest during a television taping of All Star Wrestling. After Hogan bloodied Andre with a Hogan Hammer Lariat, aided by a loaded elbow pad provided by Hogan's manager, Classy Freddie Blassie. A furious eighth wonder of the world demanded Hogan to come back out to no success. This match is actually available on the Hulk Hogan Ultimate Anthology DVD in case you want to watch the Hamburg Field House during its heyday. In 1984, Rowdy Roddy Piper, the Hot Rod himself, joined the WWF and was red hot off the gate, utilizing his gift of gab during his revolutionary talk show segment, Piper's Pit. On March 28, 1984, Piper's Pit was filmed with Hot Rod interviewing Superfly Jimmy Snuka. Piper kept berating the Phenom, insulting his lineage and background, calling him a savage and disrespecting the Phenom with various fruits. Finally, as Snuka had enough, Piper walloped him with a coconut, splitting it in 2 over his cranium. To this day, many wrestling historians believe that this one moment made Roddy Piper a megastar in the wrestling industry. Here's a did you know? It never aired on television nationally until June 9th, 1984, as it was specifically filmed for a series of matches in the St. Louis territory. However, once the feud expanded nationally, this Piper Pit aired across the country. And it happened at the Hamburg Field House. The last WWF live event at the Field House took place on Wednesday, May 10th, 1985, when the WWF Intercontinental Champion Greg the Hammer Valentine went to a time limit draw with a Junkyard Dog, JYD, in the main event. A month and a half earlier, the WWF went global with the revolutionary WrestleMania event at Madison Square Garden and started running bigger arenas around the country. The Hamburg Field House was just too small for the growing WWF. However, pro wrestling still existed at the Field House on a regular basis. 1 month after Shane Douglas threw down the NWA World Heavyweight Championship and proclaimed himself the ECW World Heavyweight Champion, which in turn turned Eastern Championship Wrestling into Extreme Championship Wrestling, ECW ran a television taping at the Field House on September 30th, 1994. Chris Benoit and Taz, then known as the Tasmaniac, went to a time limit draw. The Pitbulls, Public Enemy, Tommy Dreamer, the Sandman, and 2 Cold Scorpio all had fantastic performances on the show. But the main event, Sabu facing Cactus Jack, tore down the house in Extreme War. Sabu cracked his ribs during the battle, and in an instance detailed in Mick Foley's revolutionary autobiography, Have a Nice Day, Cactus Jack had a beer bottle cracked over his skull. Granted, it did take 6 or 7 times, but the bottle did eventually break. On November 4th, 1994, Dean Malenko made history at the historic Hamburg Field House, not only winning the ECW World Television Championship from Too Cold, but becoming the first generation wrestler to perform at the Field House, as his father, Boris the Great Malenko, wrestled and won his match as a part of the WWF against Tim Woods on November 20th, 1963. Almost 31 years to the day. Unreal. ECW ran the Field House several times over the next few years, ending their Hamburg experience on September 12, 1998, with the aforementioned Shane Douglas successfully defending his ECW World Heavyweight Championship against an up-and-coming Lance Storm. Over the next 2 decades, countless independent promotions have run the Hamburg Field House, including PCW and EPWE. It is a staple of the Pennsylvania wrestling scene. Most recently, it has become the home venue of American X Wrestling, and this is where the story picks up. My guests on this debut Bank on History are the main men running the day-to-day operations of AXW, Jared Strunk and Antonio Lozinger, affectionately known as Tone. And I apologize in advance, Tone. I bet you I already butchered your last name. But you're Tone nonetheless. With their biggest venture, the Legends of Hamburg Fan Fest, coming to the Hamburg Field House on September 16th, 2023, I wanted to talk to these two men about their history in the venue and the preparations behind this very special night, culminating with AXW Battleground X in the evening. Right now, it's time to boost up my laser beam, shoot it off the metallic suit of the McDonaldland mascot, Cosmic, hanging over the Milky Way, and back down to Earth, as I have an internet video chat with Jared and Tone about the Hamburg Field House. Well, I'm indeed honored and privileged to have with me here the men who run the whole gamut of American X Wrestling. That is right. I have Antonio and Jared. You guys, I met you guys back in January at For the People. And let me just tell you right off the bat, and I'm going to put you guys over right off the bat, the experience at AXW is probably the most fun, relaxed experience that I've had in a wrestling setting in such a long time. And you guys really, along with Brutal Bob and Kevin Kelly and the entire staff, you guys really run a good ship and a good show. And you guys really enlightened me to the Hamburg Field House experience and how historic it truly is. So I wanted to thank you guys for that.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I love it. So, so with the Historic Hamburg Field House, this podcast is based on the history of the venue. I already have a lot of a backstory as it comes to the Historic Hamburg Field House on my end, but I really want to talk to you guys because you guys are, from what I see, the main promotion running out of that venue. And Tone, I'll start with you, man. What was your first experience at the Hamburg Field House as a fan, or was it first time with like AXW and Outbreak as a promoter?
Yes, so my first experience was with American X Wrestling, and I was just a volunteer help. Probably more of a Mark fan than a help because they had Al Snow there. It was the first time I ever attended, and of course, who didn't want their picture taken with Head and Al Snow, right? So I was like, I got to be a part of it. I got to volunteer. I got to get to know the insides and stuff. And take it way back before I even stepped in. I was a fan. Yes, we're all fans. But I was more curious on how a wrestling company is produced and how it's put together. So that was more of my mind growing up. So, and I thought, wow, this could be an opportunity. So I started out in the kitchen. I think I was helping Girl Daddy Dave, is the nickname I gave him. I believe his name is David.
Dave
We were
Gubernat.
cooking burgers and deep frying fries. And I have a picture with Al Snow from that event. That was my pay. I didn't get anything else besides that. And I think I had the kitchen apron on in that picture. But anyway, that was my first experience. And I just thought, like, wow. I mean, this building's here. It's so old. Why is it still, like, up and alive, and I went home and I just went on to, like, typical, you have questions, you go on Google. That's what we do nowadays, right? And so, and I Google searched Hamburg Field House, and it just gave me a whole bunch of information and history behind it. And it just wow factored me of what all the events happened there. So I am very grateful for the opportunity that Jan at the time and Ryan Vox gave me to come and help out. So I'm very appreciative of that.
That is awesome. That is an awesome experience. And I remember talking to Tim Hughes, and he always told me, if you have any question about the Hamburg Field House, you go to Tone, because he's researched this thing left and right. And, learning about the venue myself, similar to you, I mean, it's such for me, it feels like legacy in that building, just the amount of wrestling history in that venue, just by the longevity alone. And Jared, I want to go to you here with this. I mean, how did the connection with AXW and the Hamburg Field House start?
Well, to be honest, so my first experience with the Hamburg Field House was when I was a younger kid. I would go, I saw PCW, Pennsylvania Championship Wrestling, there a couple times. It was always cool going to see there. I'm from Reading, so it was a little drive was different. PCW used to run at the Cloister in Reading. I'd go see it there. But it was always a cool building to run in. When AXW was originally brought up, before it became AXW, I was approached from somebody from high school, Craig Krause, about starting a wrestling promotion. We're looking at different venues, and the memory of the Hamburg Field House was in my mind, and I reached out about running there. I knew other promotions weren't really running there anymore. And that's basically it, just from my childhood and remembering going to see PCW there. I remember seeing ads for ECW back in the 90s, but I never got to make it up there, unfortunately, for those. But
sorry, Jared.
No, go ahead.
You talk about the ECW experience, and doing my research just on the venue, I had no clue ECW ran out of there as late as 1998.
Yep.
I think with Van Dam and RVD and Sabu, all the Dudleys were there. I mean, even as early as from what the history of WWE.com, a wealth of information when it comes to history of like all house show results and everything for like the mainstream companies. September 30th, 1994, a month after the company went extreme, they did television tapings at the Hamburg Field House. And just seeing the list of names on that list, Too Cold Scorpio, Dean Malenko, Taz as the Tasmaniac, Chris Benoit, just so many guys in that venue. And then over the years, obviously the Sandman, which leads me to bring this point. I found footage on YouTube of the initial AXW from 2017, and it was posted by our ring announcer, David Adams. So I'm hoping it's the same David Adams.
It absolutely is. Yep.
And it had
absolutely
awesome. So shout out to David Adams. He posted a video that I found of the Sandman almost 25 years later in that venue doing a segment in front of the crowd. And I just looked at him and I'm like, wow. I mean, just seeing the longevity in history just from the 90s to 2017 alone was incredible, seeing the Sandman making, I believe at this point, his last stop at the Hamburg Field House. It's just the wildness of just the longevity of the venue, just with ECW.
Yeah, and in March of 2018, we had Raven there also.
Oh, that's awesome.
I think it was both. Wasn't it?
That might have been that. Sandman did make 2 appearances. I don't remember the dates. But yeah, 2018. It was March Mayhem, March 31st, 2018. Raven was there. Yeah.
Man, that is.
And then
yeah.
we had on our initial event, our very first event, which was November 5th, 2017. 2016. November 5th, 2016 was Sanjay Dutt was in there. He was on there. He came twice, Sanjay Dutt. And then the next show, which was a benefit show for the Humane Fire Company in Pottsville, is when Blue Meanie was there. That was January 28th, 2017.
Man, that wasn't
the field out, so that was at the fire company. But
man, and I mean that's incredible. I mean, just again the longevity and history of that place, and I think I was taken aback when I first walked into the venue, and I love the callback on the first show for AXW and that I went to in January when Leo Sparrow faced off with Kakoa, the Flying Hawaiian. And they did the infamous coconut. They tried to do the infamous coconut, but Leo Sparrow had to change of heart. What I did not know, and I immediately geeked out the second I found out, and I might be wrong, Tone. So if I'm wrong, please let me know.
Let's go.
The locker room where all the positive, good wrestlers who have no evil tendencies in their souls. Right across from that area was where the Piper's Pit with Snuka getting hit with the coconut took place.
Yes.
Am I
right in front of those garage doors? And if you go back and you look at footage on YouTube, it'll line right up.
Oh, that's awesome, man!
The Piper's Pit debuted for WWF. So Vince McMahon contacted Piper. When Piper was first coming in. And was like, we're bringing you in as a manager because Piper had that mouthpiece. He was one of the best in that time for Vince on the microphone. And he said, we're going to debut your own segment for our shows. We're going to, it's going to be the Piper's Pit. That was in 1984. And that was for the WWF Championship Wrestling show. And then on March 18th, 1984, that was the whole Piper's Pit accident. Piper was interviewing Snuka, and he was making fun of his heritage and throwing like fruits and vegetables at him, bananas. And then Snuka had enough of it and wanted to, grab and beat up Piper. And Piper came out of nowhere with a coconut, and it just exploded. That whole thing was right there, right where Jared said. So it's it's great. A lot of when we do our fan fest and stuff, a lot of the old timers and new talents would ask, "Hey, where's that Piper Pit scene?" And then they go over to the location and take a picture. So it's pretty cool.
And it's because again, that's history. I mean, that really is such history. The venue is such rich in it, and just learning about the venue over the years. And obviously, Tone, you are the unofficial Hamburg Field House historian. And just like that, seeing everything you guys that you've done and you've let me know about over the years. I mean, seeing it come full circle with AXW the way it is right now, with how it has a lot of an old school type feel to it with a modern twist, and just seeing what you guys have been able to accomplish and seeing the fans coming out in droves watching solid professional wrestling. I mean, obviously being a part of that legacy now, I mean, that's got to feel good.
Absolutely. Feels great.
So, I mean that's just incredible. And now, with everything going on with the field house and the next event coming up, which is the big one. And this is the one that I know you can't see it. I took a screenshot of Tone when he wasn't looking. The screenshot of the Legends of Hamburg Fan Fest, September 16th, September 16th, 2023, Historic Hamburg Field House. The day is loaded with professional wrestling wall to wall when it comes to events and the actual main card event, Battlefield X, that night. I mean, it looks to be a fantastic day of wrestling. I have to ask you guys on a personal level, how has the promoting been for this as it comes to this event? I mean, getting everybody involved, all the talents involved. I mean, obviously there's 24/7 work for you guys trying to get everything set up.
For me, one word to describe it: fun. It's fun. It's
Take
fun.
that
I
as you will.
love
Take it as you will.
it. Yes, I'm giving you two thumbs like Reggie Collins right now.
No, it's a lot of work. It's a lot of work, but I know the payoff is worth it, and then I'm excited. I really am.
I was just hanging out with a good friend of ours, and and I was like, dude, uh, we got to come back strong. I have an idea. Can just hear me out. I think it'll work. It'll be fun. It'll be a lot of work, but it'll be fun. That word fun. If you're not having fun while you're doing this, and me, when I'm having fun, I'm loving it. I'm happy. So, all is good, right? So, and we presented it to Jared, and they just was like, all right, you know what? Let's go for it. And it means a lot to me because they believed in me, and I believe in them just as much as they believe in me. And just to see it happen. Now we're in the third year of doing this crazy thing, Each year it gets more exciting, gets more fun. I say fun again, but like it's just I'm still wowed because I step back, and I'm like, this is cool. Excuse my language. You can bleep that out. Like it's cool, I'm still, even though we're working on it, I'm excited because I can't wait to see, the aftermath of it, where fans are posting pictures with their favorite wrestler they saw, and they talk about having a good time at Waffle Mania, and wow, I can't believe that happened between that guy and that guy in the ring, like I'm just excited for the day after because that's the payoff. That's the payoff for me. That's my payday. That's my check, is seeing fans happy and having a great time. So,
and that's with every event. That's every event we do.
Oh yeah,
seeing the pictures afterwards that Kellyanne takes, and Dennis and Haley. Just the pictures of the fans, smiling, getting excited. We love our fans, and that's why we do this. It's a lot of work. It takes a lot of work, but the payoff, seeing everybody excited and waiting for the next event, it just makes it worth it.
Our fans, to me, it's like family. I go there and I see everybody. We know most everybody, and we just a couple new faces, which is great. We always need new faces, right? We're just an expanding, growing family, and I feel like everybody there is my cousin, So
yeah, absolutely.
I feel like we're just hanging out with each other, having a great time. So and creating new memories, and it's just great, man. So
I love the passion rating off both you guys. I mean, it's just it brings me happiness just to see how passionate you are about AXW and the Legends of Hamburg Fan Fest. And a few of the guests, I mean, I was in attendance the night in April when Kurt Angle was announced, the first announcement of the Legends of Hamburg, and just hearing the fervor from the fans, just alone on how excited they were, made me very happy, because it just showcases, go big or go home. That's the philosophy, and you guys are doing exactly that. I mean, just a lot of the names already announced: RVD, Sabu, Bill Alfonso, Daddy, get the whistles ready, Tito Santana. Just a few of the names. I mean, these are legitimate legends of professional wrestling, and and I got to ask you about this, because the one thing I'm intrigued on, because I love the logo for the hype for it, is Waffle Mania. The breakfast Q&A and the announcement, everything set up with that. I saw Johnny Rods announced for this thing, and any old school WWF fan with Johnny Rods, the fact we have this legend not only still around but attending Waffle Mania, I mean, that is just fun. That's just fun right off the bat, and I'm ripping off Tone's gimmick with the fun. It's so fantastic to see Johnny Rods in attendance for Waffle Mania.
It is.
When you think of WrestleMania, it is a fun, great day, and what better title? We're not ripping it off, Waffle Mania. It's a fun, funny title, funny name for an event. But last year's experience with Demolition, it was a learning experience for us. It was our first time doing something like this. I'm not great at waffle making. Thank God I wasn't in the kitchen that day. But like this year here, we're more prepared. And hopefully, we're add one or two more names to that Waffle Mania event. But Johnny Rods, he's the man that is unpredictable, right? And he's done a lot of wrestling in that building, so he's got a lot of stories to tell. He said so. He's ready. He's excited as well.
Yeah,
this is awesome. I mean, everything, the Waffle Mania in the morning, the Legends of Hamburg Fan Fest in the afternoon, and at night will be AXW Battlefield X. This is just going to be, I mean, you already got announced, Scotty 2 Hotty is going to be in this thing. So I'm stoked to be in attendance for that. What a night it's going to be for you guys and for the fans of Hamburg, because I truly feel like Hamburg is an experience. I mean, it's easy to get to the field house, and once you get outside, you look at it, you just feel vintage. I made sure to take a picture every time I get to the venue of what the venue looks like on the outside, just because I'm a geek like that. And just seeing the history inside and feeling your guys' passion, I know this is going to be a memorable day for the wrestling fan, and especially of the vintage old school wrestling fan who used to go, and I'm hoping, we see some like legit old timers who back in the day who used to go to events, back for the WWF and ECW, we talked about, and even old school indie fans, like you said, Jared, with PCW and other promotions that have been in that space, have been part of the history. I mean, this is a big day for wrestling, and if there's nothing else, I'm pulling for you guys to have a great night, man. I mean, I'm very happy to see it.
Thank you. I'm excited.
Yeah.
So now
feels like Christmas to me. So if you don't celebrate Christmas, you're missing out. But whatever celebration you do celebrate, it feels like that. So
I always heard one of my favorite radio DJs back when I was a kid. His name was Harry Harrison. His famous quote was, "Unwrap every day like a precious gift." So, yes. Oh my goodness! But now this is your guys' time to shill and promote the Legends of Hamburg Fan Fest. Where can fans buy tickets? All the information, please, for social media. Please let everybody know. This is your guys' time.
Well, to buy tickets, to get more information, to see our guest, if you want to sign up to be a vendor, you could head over to www.legendsfanfest.com. There's a link to buy the tickets, but if you just want to go right to our Purple Pass website, which is our ticket provider, you can go to www.axwtix.com and you can buy the tickets there. We have combo passes, which allow you to attend more than one event. You save some money if you buy a combo pass, which we highly recommend. You have to buy those in advance, though. Or you can buy individual event tickets if you'd like. But we highly recommend you buy them in advance. You'll save some money. Like at the Legends, if you buy them in advance, they're $15. You wait until the door, they're $20. But yeah, you can go there, or the XWTix website, and we'll get you tickets too and information. What about you, Tony?
Stay tuned every Wednesday evening at 7 p.m. We will be announcing more guests, more news, information, the alls that you need to know what's going on with Legends Fan Fest. And starting soon, we're going to start building up our show following the Fan Fest, Battlefield X. And I'm excited for that. It's going to be a new, it's not new. It's new to us. It's new to Hamburg, style match. It's what I could tell you is if you grab a blender, you throw in some superstars, some legends, maybe Jared, who knows, maybe he'll get in the ring. I don't know yet. But like, if you put all those people in the blender, with a Royal Rumble style match and a Battle Royal style match and blend it all up, that's pretty much Battlefield X, And that match is being brought up from a North Carolina territory promotion that Kevin Kelly and Bob Keller used to do and work at. And I'm excited for that because, I don't know the participants in that match at all.
I'm excited.
I do know, and I can tell you that Scotty Too Hottie will be getting down and boogie with his worm, in Battlefield X show, along with Sean Skywalker. And yeah, I mean, that's all I can tell you for now. Tickets are available, like Jarek said. Everything is on the legendsfanfest.com page. And yeah, be there for Wafflemania. See me there at 6 o'clock in the morning. I'll be there walking you with a warm smile. If you're not an early bird, I'll see you like 8:30 right on the dot where it starts, right? But I'm excited, and I hope you guys are too.
It's very exciting. Can't wait. And those announcements, we'll continue to make guest announcements basically up until the event. We just keep continually announcing as in the past. As long as people keep, vendors keep signing on, and we have some pretty big yet to be named guests coming on board, which is very exciting.
This Wednesday, 7 p.m.
Yeah.
Jared, what do we got going on?
This Wednesday is going to be a really big announcement Wednesday. I don't want to give too many hints out, but
I love it.
I don't know what you want to all tell people, Tone, but
well, we sent out a hint already on a couple where a returning ECW legend icon will be coming back, and there is somewhat of a dominant or a nation that's going to be coming through, and who knows if it's 1 or 9 of them, I think there was 9 in the nation. Anyway, let's get back on track here, right? So let's just say a nation's coming, and who knows? Maybe it'd be a pit stop for one big trucker. We don't know yet, right? But
absolutely.
Please tune in Wednesday, 7 p.m. and be ready for our announcements.
Well, guys, Tone, Jared, I can't wait for the Legends of Hamburg Fan Fest. It's going to be awesome for the wrestling fan and just awesome for the business, and most importantly, awesome for the Hamburg Field House. This is such a tremendous venue and a tremendous experience, and I'm pulling for you guys, like I said earlier. But best of luck going forward, and axwtix.com to support AXW, and legendsfanfest.com as well. Tone, Jared, thank you so much, and continued success for AXW.
Thank you so much for having me.
Hope to see everyone there.
Yes.
Well, that nation Jared and Tone were referencing was the Nation of Domination. Ron Farouk Simmons, the Godfather Kama Mustafa, D'Lo Brown, and the world's strongest man, Mark Henry, will reunite as a unit for the first time since 1998 at the Legends of Hamburg Fan Fest on September 16, 2023 at the Hamburg Field House. To see the full list of talent for this illustrious event, go to legendsfanfest.com and search out some of the great legends of Hamburg's past, present, and future. More importantly, just check out the Hamburg Field House. You'll just feel the history, legacy, importance, and beauty of what the venue is all about. I want to thank Jared and Tone for their participation in the debut edition of Bank on History and their countless information regarding the Hamburg Field House. This episode would not have happened without their help, and I am thankful for them. I'd also like to thank AXW, HamburgPA.org, and the history of WWE.com for the historical references and helping me make this episode happen as well. For more information on future Bank on History episodes, follow me on Facebook and Twitter at Bankie Bruce. Also go to hardwayhq.com/Bankie Bruce to check out all my other projects. With that being said, thank you for checking out this edition of Bank on History. I'm Bankie Bruce, and we'll see you next time. Bank on it.